Welcome back to another hour of Scotch Hour. I am Noah.
I'm Jesse.
All right. Hopefully everyone had another wonderful week. I am going to do a quick apology once again because I was still a little bit ill last week. So there was another late deployment of our episode 67. So hopefully you guys will be able to find that there on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, and Podbean. This week, though, hopefully everyone had a great week. I actually feel a lot better. Hopefully I sound better. I don't think I have that super deep voice anymore.
I mean, the ladies might have liked it. You might start to miss it.
This week we went to Casa Vallarta for our restaurant. That will be our restaurant review. Our lovely Scotch of the week is Aberfeldy 12yr. And there's a reason behind the gold box and everything like that. So
right, there is.
And we'll discuss that here in a moment. Then we have our shout outs and get it togethers. And then our Smarter Challenge. Which is on Mission Impossible, the best of, right?
The best of Mission Impossible.
About to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away.
All right, so here we have the Aberfeldy 12yr and 40% ABV Highland single malt Scotch whiskey, nestled there in the Highlands. One of the reasons I think they celebrated this golden box here was because of where they source their water is considered very high in gold content. So forged in the gold-laced waters of the Patron barn. The bottle itself...
Diluvian gold, right?
Yeah. The bottle itself, handsome bottle. Little squeaky.
Sounds like you're killing someone.
Sounds like grandma just fell over.
Grandma got ran over by a reindeer.
That's right. All right, so guaranteed 12 years. I like the black and gold, the label, the container, well done. Normally it does come in a black canister, a black tube, but with this special edition, they did do the gold box. And man, it's going to be an interesting Scotch. Bacardi being the owner currently of it, and what it's known for is being a big piece of the Dewar's branded blended Scotch, as it was originally founded in 1896 and the original distillery built 2 years later, 1898, by the founder Thomas Dewar, or the first Baron Dewar.
Yeah, and that was, you said 1898, right?
Is when he was building the distillery, founded it, the name in 1896.
Okay. Yeah, because I have a construction started in 98, and then they went into production in 1899.
It's amazing how they could build a distillery in a year back then with no technology, and now they can't build an oil refinery in a decade.
Right? Also, another thing to note here is 1972. That's when they had their first major expansion to meet up with the demand of Scotch. I think we talked about it before in one of our other episodes. In the 70s, there's like a huge, that's when like there's a big explosion into the world of Scotch.
Yeah.
And then I think it happened again in the 2000s, right? There's another big demand for it then. Let's see here. And then in 2000, the old malting building was turned into the Dewar's World of Whiskey.
World of Whiskey.
And that was there for the visitors to come visit. The only other information I have here is on their tours, but I'm not sure if you have something else you want to say. It looked like you did.
No, I'd say go start with the tours. I'll start the pour.
All right. So, ooh, that sounded nice.
Smells nice. That's what she said.
So they actually have a ton of different types of tours you could do. The basic one starts off at roughly $15. That's just a regular distillery tour. You only get one tasting, though, on that one. But then their next step up is the cask tour, and you get 2 tastings, and that's about $25. Then they go to for about $30. You're looking at the whiskey and chocolate tour. So there you get to taste 3 different. You get 3 different tastings paired with chocolate. Then the next step up for about $35 is the connoisseurs tour, and there you also get a complimentary glass. And then they also have what's called the whiskey and donut tour, which is about $25. And then they also have the...
That'll be a good donut.
Then they have these 2 called the last order. There's like the regular last order, and then there's the DNA one. And those are both about $30 USD. And what they really have here, which I think would actually be really cool to do, is they have what's called the, I'm not sure it's W set or West set, but they have a level 1 and a level 2. It's a spirits course. And the spirit course is a 1 day, if you do level 1, it's a 1 day thing, and it costs about, well, it says 170 GBP, so that's 170 Great British pounds. So I'm assuming that's going to be pretty close to about 180, 190, roughly.
I mean, the dollar is strong right now. Shouldn't be, but it is.
But the one that would be really cool is a 2.5 day one, and that's the West at level 2. And then they've received awards for this, but they kind of break you go into a class and you kind of break down like all different types of spirits and stuff. And that one is 440 Great British pounds. So that one you're probably looking at closer to like maybe $500 ish range, which looks like it's pretty cool. Like a lot of people rave about that class.
I'd imagine it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I would imagine it would be.
Chemistry always is. All right.
Oh yeah, see, I think it holds true to their water pool of that alluvian gold there. Yeah.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers. Warp speed time. Another one I question why we waited so long to review here on our show. This 12-year-old from Aberfeldy, is that how you pronounce it?
Aberfeldy, yeah.
Aberfeldy.
Aberfeldy.
It has a. I think the makers held true to kind of like the lore or the historic points of view of the distillery with their water pool, which I have noted down as being the water source being called the pool of the water god because of the gold in there. But the color of it does have that nice golden color to it. It's like kind of that more that darker brassy side that I do like in the color of my scotches. And the one thing I noticed here that typically with some of these like more golden or darker brassy type of scotches, they tend to be a little bit heavier, not like heavy or anything like that, but tend to have a little bit more body to it. But this one has like a really light body to it, and I think the color, from what you see from the color to what you get like in the way it feels in your mouth is not what I expected, because I expected it to be a little bit heavier.
That's
and
what
it
you
was,
say.
And it was definitely a lighter feel. As far as the bouquet goes here, I got peaches and cream with like some hints of citrus, and I'm going a little bit more like the grapefruit type of citrus. But everything about this scotch is all about like nuances. It's not any one thing really is super pronounced about it. Like, you know, some of the, like the one last week, like it was like nothing. It was like a vanilla bomb. It's like vanilla. This one right here is you're getting like hints here, hints there. It's just like a slight nuance there and a slight nuance there. And it has nice complexity to it because of all those. So I'm getting like light nuances of like citrus fruits, vanilla, peat, and honey on my palate there. And then when it comes to my finish, I have, once again, nuances of like ginger and citrus zest. And the ginger is not spicy or anything like that. Like I said, everything about this is just like has slight nuances here. And so it's kind of it's light. And I think you made a comment while we were off when you said like this would be good with fruit or something like that, and it would be. This is like something great for the summertime. If you want like a nice scotch to drink during the summertime, you know, you want something that has like a great flavor to it, that tastes a little bit refreshing and light for a scotch. I think this is your guy. And yeah, I definitely would share this one at a poker game or something like that. I'd be more willing to share this one than maybe some of the last few that we've had. And that's not a bad thing. I just think this one just has like that. I think this one is one that I think more people would appreciate as to where some of the other ones, you know, I think you have to be a little bit more of a scotch drinker to appreciate.
Yeah. Limited bottling. Don't know how limited their version of limited is, but number 2805 for whatever bottling source they are. Yeah, it's man, this scotch is fun, and there are some scotches that are serious. And when I say this scotch is fun, this is not, to me, a tuxedo scotch. It's not a Dalmore 15. It's not a Macallan Edition 6, the Macallan Edition 6, the Dalmore 15, the Dalmore Cigar Malt. Like, those to me are tuxedo or suit-wearing scotches. You're dressing up, you're looking sexy, or even a Talisker. Like, to me, you're dressing up. To this, it's funny because I feel like my yacht club outfit here is perfect for this scotch. You're out on a yacht drinking this. It's roughly around $50 a bottle. So as you're hitting the waves, you're not worried if you spill just a little bit, but you're still enjoying it. Great summer fun. The color, they nailed it. Gold. I mean, that is the color you get from this scotch. On the nose, fresh is the first thing. It is summer. It is fun, fruity. For me, the fruits that are coming through, I didn't get it till you mentioned it, but I do get that little bit of that grapefruit, a hint of grapefruit. I'm getting a hint of orange, some really good pear and green apple. But I think the pleasant one, the fun one for me is the pear, because that is just a great crisp, a ripe pear, a great crisp summer taste. And then on the nose, and as it ultimately transcends to the palate with the same flavors, a local, and I don't know how else to say it besides a great full-bodied honey, local honey with that hint of clove that only comes great with fresh honey, not like the store-bought generic stuff. I'm talking about the good stuff. It's great, and the finish is long, and at the tail end of that finish, when you're getting these, for me, honeyed fruits, you get the hint of oak, and for me, that's a great dry finish, great dry long finish, a lot of fun, sweet spice, just a little bit in the middle of the palate there of what would be like a dash of nutmeg, just a little bit, but a nice, fairly creamy scotch throughout until you get to the end there with that dry, oaky, honeyed flavor. For me, a lot of fun when I take it. Yeah, man, this is a great barbecue scotch. It's a great poker night scotch. It would be a lot of fun just to go get together with some friends, have a charcuterie board or two and some fresh cut fruits, and go to town with the fruits and the scotch. Keep it healthy.
I agree. I second that. All right. Anything else you want to say about it?
No, it's a lot of fun though. It is. It is fresh at the front, dry at the back, and great, creamy, delicious.
It's the hair version of a mullet. All business up front and party in the back.
That's right. That's exactly what it is. It is. I do like the top. We were mentioning last week how we wish they would do more burning or engraving into these wooden tops, but it's got a great gold and black wooden top. It feels like a manly Scotch. Feels like a bottle.
Well, and once again, I think they hold true to their mantra about the gold from the water and stuff like that. And I think you mentioned this before, one of our other episodes too. Like a lot of these distilleries, they do highlight their water source.
Yeah, this one, the Patilli burn.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure about the burn part of it. I'm just kidding.
It's time for our shout out.
The world in action, what we can be. Life with no distractions, we'll get away.
For me, man, this is going to be, I think, the rest of this F1 season at this rate. My shout out really goes to Verstappen once again, holding off the rest of the Formula One lineup and securing his victory at the Canadian Grand Prix. Didn't let the wall of champions take him out during the race. So great job, Verstappen. Red Bull, and we're not supposed to say Honda for whatever reason, but as is continuing to be the case, Honda. Why aren't we trying to get away from these like super technology, gas powered cars and engines? I don't know.
I don't know either.
But you know what, Verstappen, if anyone doubted you last year with a very last second victory, the doubt has to start to fade now. Like, it's obvious you are a champion driver. So congrats.
My shout out is actually, I don't know, I'm going to kind of give a shout out to Chris Carter, the writer and director and creator of the X-Files.
All right.
I've been on an X-Files kick, so I've been watching a lot of the X-Files again. This is probably like my second or third time through the X-Files seasons. I find them to be like it's like a really fun series. It has like, especially since I'm more of I do like, the conspiracy type of stuff. So it kind of like, it captures the governmental conspiracies. It captures the UFOs. Then they have like their monster of the week, that they used to do. Like, I think it was like once a month they had a monster of the week episode. And then, when you watch it, you can tell it's a little bit dated now. But they had like a lot of great stories. If you watch some of these episodes, and I know I mentioned it to you a couple times, but there's some of the episodes you're like, wow, that still relates to what's going on in today's times. And some of you are like, how did they know about this stuff so far in advance? And it's quite interesting. But I think the acting is still pretty good with, David Duchovny and I forget who plays Scully, the redheaded lady.
As a kid, I thought she was so hot, and then that all stopped one day.
She still looks pretty good. She looked pretty decent in her TV series that she had on Netflix, where she had a son that was kind of like a sex advisor. It's kind of a messed up show, but it's a fun show. In any case, I just want to give them a shout out. I think their that series is still a great series.
Yeah, David Duchovny did do a good job being the conspiracy-minded FBI agent.
Yeah, in fact, I just got done watching one it was either last night or the night before, where they where Mulder and Scully they pretend to be a husband and wife in a Covenant neighborhood, and this neighborhood they made basically like a mud golem type of thing that would go around killing the neighbors that violated their homeowner association rules and stuff. So it was a pretty fun one to watch, because he's like joking around with Scully, going like, "Hey woman, make me a sandwich," and stuff like that.
I mean, we all know in real life, Gillian Anderson doesn't put up with any of that, because
right.
She goes home to her wife. I think that's what ruined it for me as a kid. Like, oh, she doesn't like guys. I don't have a chance. Yeah, stop being interested.
Right.
Don't become one of these people who becomes infatuated. Just move on.
Exactly. But yeah, once again, that's my shout out.
All right, get it together.
Yeah, you got to get it.
Oh my God, why is it always Biden, right? If you can't ride a bike, fall off it. But man, this past week when he got on there and did his conference, his little 2 minutes of fame for the week, and he's like, we understand that America is worried about the possibility of inflation. It's not possible. It's happening. It's literally happening. It's going on. Like, get it together and just start really moving on. Like, oh man, it's killing me.
So to go along with that, Madeleine Albright, who's the Secretary of the Treasury, she talks about how she doesn't think we're going to go into a recession.
Yeah. What?
We're already in a recession. We've been in a recession. We're probably in a depression at this point.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, the gross domestic product and all of our sales and everything, they're going to keep growing the next 2 quarters. They're already down. Look at Ford. If you just want one example, they should be thriving more than anyone with their first electric F-150 just coming off the line and having sold. And now they're like, we're making $0 off our Mustang Mach-E car. And the truck is basically following suit. It's like, okay, so what are you saying here? Production's down, sales are down, costs are up, but you've already got sticker prices you're still holding true to. A plus B equals C, meaning recession.
Yeah, I just think it's funny how the administration, top to bottom of it, they talk about like how everything is like transitional or transitory, or it's like I don't think they know their hand from their ass at this point. I mean, they just basically like they're talking about like we're in the best economy ever. That's bullshit.
I mean, hand and ass. If you're talking about Biden, they're both brown at this point.
And obviously the Pope got firsthand knowledge of that.
Yeah. Oh, hey.
Apparently I'm not sure if you heard this, but the rumor there in Vatican City is the Pope is getting ready to resign.
I don't doubt it for a second. Who wants to be part of this world at a leadership level? That if you can't really like, if you don't got the gumption, if you don't got the testicular fortitude at this point, yeah, you should probably move over. We need a president like, I don't know, maybe Trump or John Wick. Take your pick.
John Wick would be interesting. I'm not sure how we would end up after that.
I mean, the war in Russia would be over.
I mean,
because it's not really in Russia. The war in Ukraine would be over.
it's pretty much over.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I pretty much believe it is over. It's basically a proxy war, and the Ukrainians aren't going to give up until the U.S. finally says, yeah, we're done.
I mean, we backed out of Afghanistan. Did they forget about that? This little teeny country.
Well, I think there's a difference. I think there's a big difference. One, I don't think, we had 48 bioweapon laboratories there in Afghanistan like we do in the Ukraine, and B, I don't think the Democrats were using Afghanistan as a money laundering and human trafficking zone as they are right now with Ukraine. And if you guys don't believe me, just go research it. You'll find that information. They are laundering the money. There's a ton of human trafficking going on there, and then there's obviously the whole the Nazis there at the Azov battalion and stuff.
Yeah, I just gotta really emphasize, when did fake news become old news? As in, it's real news, but no longer fake news, but now we accept it as far as the biolabs. Oh, no, that's just make-believe. That's the conspiracy people saying there were biolabs in Ukraine that the U.S. put there and was working. Nah, that's all just a conspiracy. And now it's like, okay, we waited long enough, tell them it's real, and they won't even care anymore. And most of America doesn't. They're just like, oh, we've already heard that. Like, did you? Do you remember that we used alien technology to combat COVID?
Well, they was even shown in, I think it was a Daily Camera, maybe. It was a British newspaper. But in 2020, the so-called conspiracy people were saying, like, how with the jab, that it was a means for them to put tracking devices inside of you, a tracking chip. And then in 2022, there's a report that came out saying, like, there is tracking chips in them, in the jab. So it's just kind of funny how it goes from, like, being, like, people being, the fake news saying, like, oh, that's a conspiracy, don't believe those people. And then they get kicked off and banned off of social media. And all of a sudden, a year or two later, it's like, oh, it is true.
So it's the Chinese flu? What?
Right? All right. So enough of that, I guess. Biden, the people who voted for Biden, get it together. I'm just going to say that. You guys owe me some money at this point.
Yeah, just pay for the portion of gas and everything else that's gone up for me. The average American, apparently, according to studies show, the average American is making 5% more now than they were 18 months ago. So 5%. However, they've also acknowledged that inflation is up higher than, but at least acknowledged at 8.6%, meaning you're actually down 3.6% because of the inflation and the cost of living, even though you got a 5% raise.
Yeah, true income is definitely down.
Spending power is lost.
We went to Casa Vallarta. Is that what
Casa Vallarta!
All right.
Arriba!
Andale. I didn't really check out the whole inside of the place. I guess I'll go first. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't really check out the whole inside of the place, but we did go onto the back patio and have dinner there. And the back patio area seemed pretty nice. They had some TVs up there so you could watch the Avalanche Stanley Cup Finals. Too bad the Avalanche were losing at the time that we left. The bus boy guy or whatever, I'm not sure what he is, but the guy who comes around who does like the whole chips and salsa stuff, he was Mr. Johnny on the spot. He was there right away with our chips and salsa, and he took our drink orders right away and got our drinks out so pretty quickly. That was pretty nice. For dinner, I got the fajita burrito, which actually was it was a really good burrito. The steak was well done in there, but the plate was huge.
They were big portions.
They were very big portions, and I'm not sure if it's a date-worthy place. Like I said, I didn't really actually go inside and check out the inside, but it seems like it could be a date-worthy place. Just sitting out there on that back patio, I think you could take a first date there, and I think you can meet up with friends there and watch a game, kind of like what we were doing there. And I don't think anything there really stood out. I say the beers. If you order a large beer, it's a large beer. So they're pretty big, and their portions were pretty large. So I think dollar value wise, I think you get a pretty decent amount of food for the amount that you pay. So the food, I'll just give it I'll give it a solid 7. The atmosphere there, I'll give that a 7. I'm just going to give it 7 straight across the board. And that's pretty much my review of the place.
Yeah, it was pretty good. We walked in another one of these restaurants I've wanted to visit for a long time. It's been there a long time. We're talking just north of Quincy on Parker Road. And, oh, man, the chips and salsa and pico I thought were good. Not fantastic, but good. The beer was massive. Like, that was another thing. When I can't finish my beer, that's a damn big beer, and I couldn't. And it was also because I just finished my plate, and that was a big plate. We're talking a plate like huge. I had the combo number 16, so I got a chicken enchilada, a ground beef taco, and a crispy chile relleno with black beans, or refried beans actually, refried beans and rice. The refried beans and rice were good. And my crispy chili relleno was not super crispy, but the cheese was great. The plate, and all in all, it was all great food value wise. $14. That's only a couple dollars more than I can eat at Taco Bell for. So definitely value wise, it was there. The service to me wasn't bad. I think they were afraid to, and you mentioned this, to come over back to the table and give us our bill because we had half these beers still left. They were massive, and with that though. They haven't done a whole lot of updating or upgrading in there. Not that they necessarily needed to. Business-wise, they're probably doing pretty good. But yeah, overall, first date there, it would not be my place for a first date. It didn't have quite enough energy for me for a first date, unless it's a lunch date and then you're going during the middle of the day sitting outside. That could be cool as hell. But otherwise, food value-wise was its win. Food total, 7. Environment, 7. Service, 6.5. I wasn't crazy about the service. I would have liked them to be just a little more attentive because there were plenty of them. It's one of the first restaurants we went into, and when I went to go look at the rest of the restaurant, I was like, well, there's plenty of people. Like, come and check on the table. But maybe they've had other complaints where most people don't, because they were all, a lot of people were there obviously watching the Avs. I was not. But with that, all in all, I'd give it a 7 as well. Definitely wouldn't hesitate to go back with a friend. Just not sexy. Smarter Challenge, the best of Mission Impossible. So we had a lot of fun with Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick, and really wanted to kind of continue this Tom Cruise kick, if you will, and look at the Mission Impossible movies. So there was a Mission Impossible TV show. You can talk about it if you want. It was a great show. First aired September 17th, 1966, aired for 7 seasons. And when I was as a kid, I actually loved watching the show. I thought it was a great show. But then nothing compared to the remake movies. And rewatching the movies, the first one was a hoot. Tom Cruise does a great job, and I know you and I were talking about some of the fashion in that movie and the nice wide lapelled suits. We're talking about 1996. Great suits, great attire. Not for everyone, apparently, because nowadays they want suits so tight you can barely breathe without showing your ribs. But 1996. And then you got 4 years later, you got Mission Impossible 2. Then you're going to jump back or forward another 6 years to 2006, and you get to Mission Impossible 3. The fun one about that, Simon Pegg is introduced and does a great job. Then you don't so much go to, even though it is Mission Impossible 4, but you go to Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. And, oh, man. Another good action movie, but for me, for 2011, it was probably my least favorite. And so we've got a couple more. We got 2015 Rogue Nation, 2018 Fallout, and then next year, Dead Reckoning Part 1, and the year after, we'll assume Dead Reckoning Part 2.
Yeah.
What are you thinking? For me,
man. I didn't bother looking at the series because you mentioned it was just on the movies, so I didn't even consider looking at anything in the series wise. But like the first thing, I kind of like. I agree with you. The first movie that started off the franchise here, that was a lot of fun to watch. I even made the comment like the main. I guess the main star female actress in that one, she was definitely very beautiful. Like she had very much seemed almost like that kind of more of the European type of look to her. But the one thing I did notice after watching these 6 movies, It is 6, right? Is that you could tell the difference from all the different directors. The first one, the first director was Brian De Palma, and he did stuff like Scarface and Carlito's Way. And then after the Mission Impossible, he went on to do stuff like Untouchables, Snake Eyes, and Black Dahlia. So you could tell like his signature on like how he does his directing is very much different from the second director, who is John Woo. And if you like the old like Hong Kong shoot 'em up type movies,
Face Off,
then you would know like John Woo's style, because he did the movie like A Better Tomorrow and Hard Boiled, and then as you mentioned, Face Off. And if you like anime, he did Appleseed. And so John Woo is very much like about like gunplay and using pigeons, or I'm not. Is it pigeons or is it doves?
I think it's supposed to be a white dove, but it looks like a damn pigeon in the movie.
Well, he does the white dove. There's the one white dove in there that he definitely shows, but I think there's like a lot of pigeons around always too. And then the third one, is J.J. Abrams. And when he filmed that third movie, before that, he did Lost and Alias, those TV series. And they were very distinct too. And then afterwards, he went on to do the new Star Trek movies, Super 8 and Force Awakens. So you can tell like he's more of like a more scientific, techie type of guy. And you can see that in that third movie too. And then going into the fourth movie, that's one you didn't like, right? Which is Ghost Protocol.
It's not that I didn't like
or
it.
Is your least favorite?
It was my least favorite, and it's just because the way that it flowed throughout the whole movie, it just didn't flow well.
And here's probably, if you look at the director of this one, which is Brad Bird, he did the Incredibles movies and Ratatouille. So, I mean, you kind of like looking at like he was doing like animation movies, and they were kind of like fun family type of movies. And you can kind of tell the difference with Ghost Protocol there. It didn't have the same action. And then the last director who did the last two,
Rogue Nation and
Fallout,
is
Christopher McQuarrie. And here, get a load of this. This guy,
he's done a lot.
He's been check out the stuff that he's written. Usual Suspects.
Yeah.
Valkyrie, Tom Cruise movie. Edge of Tomorrow, Tom Cruise movie. The Mummy, Tom Cruise movie. He also wrote Jack Reacher, and he directed Jack Reacher, Tom Cruise movie. The Way of the Gun. He wrote that and directed that. And you know what else he also contributed to in writing? Top Gun Maverick.
Hashtag winning.
And he is also the director for the one coming up in 2023.
Dead Reckoning.
And so I think there's a very good relationship between Christopher McQuarrie and Tom Cruise there. And you can tell that they work really well together, because all those movies, Valkyrie, Edge of Tomorrow, The Mummy, Jack Reacher, the two Mission Impossibles of Fallout and Rogue Nation and Top Gun Maverick, those are all great movies. They're all fun movies. Like, I think that's one of those things where, even for people who don't like Tom Cruise for whatever goofy reason that is, they have to like those movies, I would think. They're all good movies.
Yeah, I think that for me, the biggest thing that was missing in number 4, Ghost Protocol, was the tie in relationships. They weren't as firm to me as all of the others you've mentioned. And I think that that's probably one of the strengths here. You see it in Maverick. You see it in Fallout. You see it in Rogue Nation, how important these characters' relationships are with each other. And I didn't get that same sense of belonging for any of the characters in Ghost Protocol. It didn't feel like a family.
Yeah, and I think once again that kind of has to do maybe a little bit with maybe the writing in there, but also with the director and how they shot that film. And it's not a bad film, but like you mentioned, when you look at the kind of like the characteristics of each of those directors, like I like a lot of the movies that J.J. Abrams did. I like a lot of stuff John Woo did. I like a lot of the work that Brian De Palma has done. Brad Bird, Ratatouille is okay, whatever. Some fun family movie. The Incredibles, that's an animation movie. Once again, fun family movie, but not like the other action movies.
Yeah, if you don't know John Woo, by the way, you need to catch up, take a minute, go back in time. Hard Boiled is where I would start. I'm not going to say you're going to love it right off the bat, but if you don't appreciate the cinematography and what actually went into that movie for its day and age, I can't help you. It's just good. It is a great movie. Definitely out of date right now, but you go back in time, for me.
Better tomorrow with that too.
Yeah, they're just great movies.
And then that also brought up the actor Chow Yun-fat, who became kind of like a shoot 'em up actor in some American movies after Hard Boiled.
Yep. A great actor. He just did a great job. The Replacement Killers, I think, is one of my favorite roles of his.
Right.
All right. So I've talked about my least favorite.
I agree. That's my least favorite as well. But like I said, I'm tying it into the director. That's probably why.
I don't think you're wrong if you look at it from that perspective. Not one that I had focused on, but it's a great one to consider because unlike some of the other series and movies we've watched, there have been so many different directors. It's not like Steven Spielberg or one of these great producers and directors that does a whole series. It was absolutely broken apart. So that also makes me think, man, you got to have some really strong backing to keep a movie going, a series going that you never intended on it. Because otherwise you probably would have had more of the same producers, directors. You wouldn't have been bouncing so much from one to another.
Yeah, I agree with that. And honestly, I think they did a good job settling with Christopher McQuarrie because obviously there's that great relationship between him and Tom Cruise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is probably the reason why I do like Rogue Nation and Fallout probably more than any of the other movies out that's in this franchise. I did like the first one. I think the first one was kind of cool because it kind of introduced you to the whole series itself.
Reminded me of us in high school.
Yeah. One of my favorite scenes there, and we talked about this too, is like when they go to that restaurant and it's a seafood restaurant. And the other really cool part I really loved about the first one is because it took place in Prague, and I've been to Prague and I checked out St. Charles Bridge and all that stuff, and I think it did a lot better job in that movie, kind of showcasing a lot of the stuff around that European city there than maybe in some of the other ones. Because they talked about there in Berlin, but they didn't really show a lot of things that you would recognize from Berlin or some of the other cities that they've been to. And I've been to a few European cities, and I do enjoy when I can recognize things from places where I've been there and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, when you start talking about that piece, that's another weird that was weird about number 4 Ghost Protocol to me is I didn't give two rats' asses that they were in Dubai or in the Middle East like that. I don't care that they were on at that time climbing the tallest building in the world, although I do remember saying hell no when he throws them the gloves to go climb up 11 stories up and 8 stories over. Hell no. Bye, mission over. Is Mission Impossible? No, mission over. But again, the relationship between those characters, the one character that, and we talked about this briefly too, that really stood out was Sabine Moreau, played by Léa Seydoux, who is Daniel Craig's better half, so to speak, in the last 2 James Bond movies. So you've got...
she's in that 4th movie, Ghost Protocol.
Yeah, No Time to Die, and Spectre. And with that, it was interesting to see her because I think she did play her role well. I think they all did play their roles well, but she was the one character that really stood out to me. Jeremy Renner did a great job with his piece and playing that, and he brings to it. But again, the relationship building wasn't there. Quite the contrary spectrum. Interestingly enough to me, from the second one by John Woo, and you brought that up, and that one in there, you could absolutely tell the importance, the significance of relationships between all of the character, Ving Rhames and Tom Cruise, Thandui. I don't know if I'm butchering that name. I'm sure Newton, who plays Naya.
Tandy Newton.
Yeah. Yeah, her character with Tom Cruise, the same thing, playing Naya opposite Ethan Hunt. Again, the importance of relationships and building those had a huge significance to me there.
Yeah, the relationship is really, they show that strong relationship there in the John Woo's one. They show the strong relationship there in the first one between how Ethan Hunt felt about his mentor, if you will, even though he found out that his mentor was in spoiler alert, is the bad guy, along with his wife. And I think also in the third movie, you see some of the relationships there too. Fourth movie, it seemed like everyone was all for themselves, really, because the only ones that you really saw that kind of had like a tie together would be Simon Pegg with Ethan Hunt. I forget what Simon Pegg's character's name is.
Benji Dunn.
Benji. Yeah. So Benji and Ethan Hunt, you can see like that type of relationship between those two. But like the female agent, I don't remember what her name is, but she like was on her own mission to revenge. Renner was on his own mission because he felt bad about Ethan's wife and losing the secretary. So he's caught up in his own issues. And even the bad guys seem disjointed from one another too.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't think the woman from the James Bond series, I don't think she did a great job either in that one. I think she did a great job in James Bond movies, but I think in this particular movie here, I think part of it has to do with the directing and the writing, and with how you talked about like there's no relationships there.
Yeah, that's why she played it perfectly cold. It's who she is.
I don't think she played it perfectly cold. I just think it was just bad altogether. But whatever
she plays a role in French Dispatch, and I think just because of her look, she always is able to play that person who's disconnected, even when you can tell because of other pieces of acting that she does connect with people. It's very interesting.
Well, the one I do think did a good job, even though they had a short period, a short time frame, and that was in Fallout, is the White Widow.
Okay. So here we go to I think we've kind of broken down Rogue Nation and Fallout are going to be our top two.
Right.
And yes.
And I think she's super gorgeous. And she was she was the sister in Hobbs and Shaw. I forget her name. He told me the name.
Vanessa Kirby.
Yeah, Vanessa Kirby.
Yeah. Hobbs and Shaw. Another one where she did a phenomenal job. Vanessa, if you want to come on the show, I will make room for you.
Here's one thing I caught this time around that I didn't catch when I watched it the first time around, is that she's the daughter of Max from the first movie.
Yeah, that's why it's so significant.
Yeah, I mean it's really minor unless you're like really kind of paying attention and as long as you've seen the first movie. But here's the thing: is like I probably, if we didn't do this whole smarter challenge, from the time I seen that first movie to when I saw Fallout, I probably would have forgotten about Max, and I did. I'm not gonna lie, I did. But when we rewatched all these movies, I'm like, oh crap, I totally missed that the first time around.
Well, if you pay close attention, there's whispers of Max throughout the first three movies all the time, and then all of a sudden, yes, it's the White Widow that comes out. We already know she has a substantial role in the Dead Reckoning Part 1. Can't wait for that. But yes, she did a great job again. Also, if you look at the way, if you get a chance, or you may have already done it, and really look at how she plays her role versus Max plays Max's role in the first one, the facial expressions are
I think they're very similar.
Yeah, like they nailed it. Like, great job. To your point about the director here that's done a ton with Tom Cruise, I think that's what we tend to like about the Tom Cruise films, where they've tied young Tom Cruise to old Tom Cruise, is they've brought back these characters in unique ways, like Penny and Maverick. And that's again, relationships. When you've got a relationship, and if you guys forgot, the original Top Gun came out 36 years ago. Maverick came out now. That's 36 years of time. And as we're looking at 1996 to 2023, we're not talking about that much shorter of a time period for the first Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise to this next one, Dead Reckoning Part 1. And the same sort of thing, though. You're still seeing these ties between a character in the first movie, Tom Cruise, and a villain in the first movie, Max, and the daughter of Max almost 30 years later.
And it's also kind of fun too when you do watch all these like kind of almost back to back. When you get to Rogue Nation and they're trying to get rid of the Impossible Mission Group. You have what's his name who plays I forget. The guy who shot someone in a
Alec
movie.
Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin.
That's how he's always going to be. Like, okay, we're playing charades. Alec Baldwin.
So Alec Baldwin, he's the head of the CIA, trying to get rid of the Mission Impossible group there, and he talks about like all the things that all the past missions where he talks about like the nuclear weapon that hits into the building there in San Francisco, him stealing the knock list, the CIA knock list, and that's like what like that was like a huge pet peeve for him. Like that's the whole reason why he wants to get IMF shut down. But it's just kind of cool, like seeing like a lot of these nuances in these later movies tying back to the earlier movies.
Oh yeah, and you mentioned that about Alec Baldwin and his character. Alan Hunley is as he plays his role, but Alec Baldwin makes the comment to Ethan Hunt that the reason
he left the CIA.
He left, and he likes working, and what he likes about and what he values, cherishes ultimately. He doesn't use that word, but you can tell about Ethan Hunt's character is that Ethan Hunt cares about the people, the individuals, not just, how do we have the least collateral damage? No, it's like, how do I save my team? How do I save the most? It's not just collateral damages. It is, how do I save my wife or my ex-wife or this other spy or, anyone that's in it and has risked their lives for him or been a huge part of his life. And that is very substantial, again, coming down to, it's about these relationships.
I wonder if Tom Cruise makes a purpose to add these into his movies, because if you look at it, he had the same type of mantra with
Maverick.
Yeah,
no, I think he absolutely does. I think you mentioned the director. I think he absolutely has, to your point, a relationship with the director that is substantial enough that they bounce ideas off each other. Both, I'm sure, superbly passionate about their works and wanting to do great things. And so you got those two. And for me, I'll go first. My favorite Mission Impossible so far, although I do have high hopes for this next one, Dead Reckoning Part 1, is Fallout. And it is because of Vanessa Kirby. Henry Cavill as the villain does a great job also, as he plays August Walker. You mentioned Alec Baldwin. You've got the usual Simon Pegg. Ving Rhames. You've got all these usuals, and they're all in there. But really, the other piece is, at the end of the day, they're down to seconds. They all risk their lives, and they all risk their lives because of one person, his ex-wife. But they were all willing to risk their lives because they all had faith in him. And you mentioned this tie to, and it's so absurd, but it's also absolutely undeniable. Maverick, at the end of the day, all of those other pilots were willing to risk their lives for him because they believed he would lead them to their best chance at survival.
Yeah, and I think Ving Rhames tells Rebecca Ferguson.
Yes, exactly. Lisa Faust.
Yeah, he tells her.
Dude, I love it. I know where you're going.
He sits with her and he says like I've known Ethan Hunt or Tom Cruise only like 2 women in his lives. The first one being his wife, and then she's like he's married and he's like, well, not anymore, but he was married. But then they realize like he was always wondering like if he could have stopped something when he was with her, and then she's always wondering if like
would he be able to save the world when he was with her? Exactly.
And then he mentions to Rebecca, the other person that he cares a lot for is you. And then, I think that right there is like, that was a total buy-in for her, saying like, yeah, I'm going with you to go stop these bombs.
Meanwhile, Ving Rhames is like, walk away, please, just walk away. I don't want to die. If you go, I'm going to have to go.
But not only did like, when we look at it though, like Benji and Elsa, they went to go stop one bomb, and then Ving Rhames, I forget what his character's name is, but anyways, Ving Rhames' character was working with his wife, to stop the other bomb, and he's like, you need to go be with her husband, and she's like, no, I need to be here with you, helping you stop this bomb, so that way Ethan Hunt can go do his thing.
Man, what is Ving Rhames' character? Because his name is great. What is it? It's something majestic.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Oh, man. But yeah, for me, I do think so far, Mission Impossible, Fallout, my favorite. Great villains, great action that made sense again. It wasn't like Part 4, Ghost Protocol, where I just didn't like the flow. All of a sudden, they're driving through a parking garage. Luthor, yes, that's it. Lex Luthor. That's why I thought it was majestic, because of Daredevil.
Yeah, this series is a fun series to watch. It's a great series. I would have to give like my favorite female character. It's gonna have to go to Rebecca Ferguson.
See, that's tricky because Vanessa Kirby's just hot.
Well, Vanessa Kirby is just hot, but I don't think she like her role. Even though she does her role really well, and she does emanate, and she does a good job of like kind of bringing the same characteristics of what her mom Max had. I just think with Rebecca Ferguson's character Elsa being in 2 movies and having carrying a substantial soon to be a third as well, and carrying a pretty substantial role in those movies, I think she brings a lot more. Her character brings a lot more to the series, and that's the reason why I like her a lot more. And her character actually complements Ethan's character as opposed to hinders his character, where like Michelle Monaghan or whatever her name is, the wife, like her character, I think hindered Ethan Hunt, even though like kind of like Ethan talks about like how she reminds him of what life was like before he got into the IMF. But I think because of that, he wanted to like retire. He didn't really go out, and he wasn't being him. He was being a different version of him.
So then here's the question after we get to 2024 and we're at Dead Reckoning Part 2 and we think about Maverick. Who does Tom Cruise and Ethan Hunt end up with at the end of Dead Reckoning Part 2?
I think he's going to end up with Rebecca Ferguson if she's still alive.
Or is he back with Michelle Monaghan?
don't think he's gonna be back with Michelle.
I don't know. Just a thought.
My dark horse. It's either gonna be Rebecca Ferguson, or he's gonna end up with the White Widow.
I think that would be too great. She's Tom, man. Please make it happen. I'm all for you. I'm in your corner. She's young. She's got plenty of villaining left to do.
She might have plenty of villaining left to do, but I think that's the one. I think that would be the second one, because you could tell that there was a little bit of a spark there when he kissed her.
A bit. That was like, I felt it. I'm like, yes, please. I just got 800 miles in my electric car.
And I think he likes her, and she definitely likes him. But I think he likes the Elsie character way more.
Yeah.
So I think as long as she's still alive and he's still alive at the end of these next two movies, I think that's who he ends up with.
And at the end of the day, Vanessa Kirby really isn't that young. She just looks great.
Yeah.
Like she's obviously got some good genes.
Yes. What do you want me to say?
Nothing. I mean, yes.
Yes.
And a nice dress.
Yes.
Great hair.
Yes.
She's got a great smile.
Yes. Yes, and yes.
All right. Well,
yes.
I got to pull this up. I feel like she's like 36. Does that seem right?
I'd say probably, yeah. I'd probably say mid 30s to late 30s.
Ooh.
Is she younger?
She's 34.
That's mid 30s.
Yeah. We were right on. We know.
There you go. All right. Anything else we want to say about these movies?
No, I think Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise, great job. Fun to watch. Lots of fun. The one little sidekick I have to say is with my kids, I typically watch these series and I'll pick them up Friday night and we'll watch one of, it could be the Pirate of the Caribbean's weekend or it could be Mission Impossible weekend. And we typically watch 4 or 5 movies throughout the course of the weekend if there's time. Mila's got a lot of work and Aiden's got a lot of things going on too. But with that, one of the things they laugh hysterically about me for is because it doesn't matter which one of these Mission Impossible movies I watch, there's always at least one article of clothing where I'm like, damn, Tom Cruise's jacket looks good there. I like that jacket. My kids, they just look at each other and they just laugh and they're like, it's always about the clothes, Dad. And I'm like, I want that jacket. And it's very hard to find those jackets.
I got one other one here. Who's your favorite sidekick of the group?
Oh,
because obviously Ethan Hunt is the main guy, but then he has all the other ones.
See, it's so weird because I love what Simon Pegg does. And so I think for me, it has to be Simon Pegg's character.
I agree. I think Simon Pegg is going to be my favorite because he's also just another fun character. He's like a fun actor. I love a lot of his work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like Mission Impossible was just the beginning of his reign of comedy. You've got World's End. You've got Shaun of the Dead. Like great acting.
Hot Fuzz.
Oh, yeah.
And then you got him as Scotty in the Star Trek series.
Again, dynamic. Yeah.
Yeah. So I the one I wish would be a good sidekick, but he's not in enough of the other movies, and I don't think even the ones that he's in, he has like that big of a role is Jeremy Renner.
Yeah.
I think he could be like an incredible add-on, but I think the problem with him and his character, I think it would take away from Ethan Hunt. That's probably the reason why he's not in it as much.
I think that's the struggle with me for Ving Rhames too, for Luther, is that Luther is such a powerful character that he's not I can't consider him a sidekick, whereas Simon Pegg plays the one little guy, so to speak, where he's like a sidekick.
Yeah.
Ultimately, they're all sidekicks, but Simon Pegg fits. If the peg fits.
Hey, Simon, if you ever want to be on our show too,
Please.
Yeah, we would love to have you on.
Let us know you like Scotch. That would be even better. We'll play the Shaun of the Dead duo. You can direct us in your own short featurette.
All right. What's our Scotch for next week?
All right. Yeah. So Noah has selected, I think, something that could be quite a spectacular treat for next week. Ardbeg's Taste Buds Punctured Ardcore.
Yeah, that looks like it'll be the box or the presentation of the box looks like it's a lot of fun.
Like biting a spiky ball.
Or spunky balls, I thought it said, because I didn't have my glasses on.
Thank God it says spiky.
All right. So the topic for next week to go along with this Scotch for the Smart Challenge is H.P. Lovecraft and his influence on horror movies and or stories.
All right.
Or anything you want to relate to H.P. Lovecraft.
One of these days we got to like pick the Scotch that goes with porn. That show's coming.
That show's coming.
That's what you said.
All right. You want to say
here?
You want to say anything to the people?
Thank you guys for watching. Please continue to give feedback. Got some great feedback this past week. Why it was great feedback, I think, for both of us is one we hadn't heard before. Wanted longer episodes.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird one.
It's like, hell yeah. This guy's on the same level. He's next level. Level up. Thank you for the feedback. Please drink responsibly. Take care of yourselves and everyone else out there in the world. Give us feedback.
Yes, please give us feedback. And thank you once again for those of you who watch us on YouTube and Rumble or listen to us on any one of our audio feeds, whether it be Podbean, Spotify, Audible. I'm not sure it's something. iHeartRadio. But anyways, thank you very much for listening to us. We do greatly appreciate that. And if you did make it this far, once again, I do apologize for the last two episodes being up later than our normal, usually Thursday drops. But I will tell you, I am feeling much, much better this week, and I'm pretty much over my cold. So I expect everything to be running on schedule like normal. So with that, everyone, hopefully you have a wonderful upcoming week. And cheers. And Scotchman. We hope you enjoyed this evening's episode of Scotch Hour. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you have not done so already, please become a Patron member with memberships starting as low as $1 a month. Thank you, and hopefully you have a wonderful evening.